is High Q, brought to you by Ingalls. Now, here's your host, Channel 2's Katie Balls.
And welcome to another exciting edition of High Q. This afternoon, we have Walton High School. Walton is coached by Matt Edelstein. Also welcome, Lakeside High School. Lakeside is coached by Gary Saltmarsh. Now, for our viewers at home, this game is played in 4 rounds. The first is a round of open questions, each worth 10 points, but we also have that higher Q question mixed in there with up to 50 points. So, teams, let's get started. On October 16th, it unveiled a new operating system called Yosemite, the iPad Air 2. Mr. Who?
Apple.
Very good. For 10 points, on July 12th, the World Cup competition began as Brazil beat Croatia 3-1. In what country were the games held? Mr. Eckel.
Brazil.
Very good. IQ's word of the week is an adjective that describes someone well-known, respected, and admired for past achievements, spelled illustrious. Miss Nyack.
ILLUSTRIOUS. Illustrious.
Beautiful. For 10 points, a recent high-resolution satellite study of the Earth reveals that there are this many lakes on the Earth. Is that 1.7 million, 11.7 million, or 117 million lakes? Mr. Along.
117 million.
Correct. For 10 points, scuba divers are likely to suffer decompression sickness after coming to the surface too quickly. What is the more common name for this painful, Mr. Chakraborty?
Bends.
Correct. For 10 points, it will open its first brick-and-mortar stores, first in San Francisco, then in Manhattan. Mr. Eckel. Yes. I know, a lot of people are excited. Here we go with Where's Lloyd? Our judge and academic advisor, Lloyd Bush, has been visiting the wonders of the world. Please watch your monitor and for 10 points, tell us, where is Lloyd? Why go there? Because that's where the gators are. What is this tropical wetland, Mr. Along?
Everglades.
Very good. And notice Dr. Lloyd wrestling the python and the alligator simultaneously. So far this season, they've included Arthur, Bertha, Cristobal, Edward, Miss Nyack.
Cartoons.
Good job. For 10 points, in 1568, he devised a mapping system that divided the globe with lines of latitude and longitude. Mr. Chakraborty. Intersecting at right angles. Who was this Flemish cartographer? Miss Along.
Mercator.
That's correct. Higher Q time. And now it is time for the higher Q question. I'm going to give you a subject, and then you'll make your bid 0 to 50 in increments of 10. Then I'll ask the question. The subject, Shakespeare. Subject is Shakespeare. Walton, you're at 40 points. Lakeside, you are at 50 points. Just a 10-degree gap. All right. Wages are in. In 1989, archaeologists discovered its site in London parking lot. In what theater were many of Shakespeare's plays first performed? In 1989, archaeologists discovered its site in a London parking lot. In what theater were many of Shakespeare's plays first performed? All right. Answers are in. Walton, Mr. Alon, we'll start with you.
Globe Theater.
Globe Theater is correct.
50.
50 points. Well done, up to 90. And Lakeside, Mr. Wiley?
The Globe Theater.
That's correct.
50 points.
Well done, up to 100. Back to our open questions, 10 points. It has the longest active winning streak in the football bowl division, subdivision. What is this ACC team, Mr. Alon?
Mississippi State.
Incorrect. What is this ACC team in defending national champions? Mr.
Florida
Apple.
State.
That's right, go Noles. For 10 points, this Austrian monk probably improved the results of his experiments with garden peas. Miss Alon?
Mendel.
That's correct. Well done. For 10 points, of nylon, rayon, dacron, and orlon, only one is made from organic material. Which synthetic fiber is it, Mr. Alon?
Nylon.
Incorrect. Miss Nyack?
Orlon.
Incorrect. The answer is rayon. Rayon. I know, fun fact. Julius Caesar fought the Gallic Wars and wrote a book about it. What modern country includes most of? Mr. McDonald.
France.
Well done. The fat-soluble vitamin can prevent anemia in babies, improve immunity in the elderly, and may increase resistance to cancer. Which vitamin is it? A, D, E? Mr. Who?
C.
Incorrect. A, D, E, or K? Miss Nyack.
K.
Incorrect. The answer is vitamin E. Vitamin E. For 10 points, from the Greek words for 5 books, they're the first 5 books of the Old Testament. Mr. Wiley.
Gospels.
Incorrect. What's the word? Mr. Alon.
Pentecostal.
Pentateuch. Pentateuch. For For 10 points, this city in the Netherlands is the site of the International Court of Justice. Mr. Along.
The Hague.
Well done. For 10 points. Oh, and that buzzer means that it is the end of round one. Coming up next, we have our extra credit points. We have Walton at 120 points, Lakeside at 110. Stick around, you won't want to miss it.
Carbon. 4 now.
With on
Point Lakeside, and welcome back to High Q. We have Walton with 120 points, Lakeside nearby at 110 points, and now it is time for your extra credit round. We'll be asking questions, each worth 10 points, and then the winning team gets an extra credit question worth 5, 10, and 15 points. Now, if the team gets one wrong, then the other team has a chance to play. Just remember, though, if you do choose to play, you have to play all of the remaining extra credit questions, and you can go into negative point territory here. So, here we go. For 10 points, here's a question that calls for 2 answers. What 2 teams played in the 2014 World Series? Mr. Along?
San Francisco Giants and Kansas City Royals.
Very good. Your extra credit for Walton. 3 West African countries have reported 99% of all Ebola cases. For 5 points, name any one of those 3 countries.
Liberia.
That's correct. For 10 points, name another.
Guinea.
Correct. And for 15 points, what is the 3rd West African country that leads the world in cases for Ebola?
I think so. Sierra Leone.
Well done. Back to our open questions worth 10 points. There are almost 35 billion people in the world's largest metropolitan area. What is this Asian? Mr. Along.
Japan.
What is this Asian city? Mr. Apple.
Tokyo.
Correct. Your extra credit questions. The machines we use are based on what physicists call the 6 simple machines. For 5 points, in its simplest form, this is a solid wooden disc on an axle.
Wheel.
Wheel.
Correct. For 10 points, this machine rotates on a fixed point called a fulcrum.
Lever.
Lever.
Very good. For 15 points, Archimedes used one of these to raise water for irrigation.
Screw.
Nice. Very good. All right, back to our open questions. Very close game. For 10 points, when nuclear war forces the evacuation of children from England, an airplane filled with boys. Mr. McDonald?
Lord of the Flies.
That's correct. Very dark, dark novel. 3 English romantic poets are known as the Lake Poets because they lived in the Lake District of northwestern England. The Lake Poet wrote The Rime of the Ancient Mariner. For 5 points, Keats or Coleridge?
Coleridge.
Correct. For 10 points, the oldest of the Lake Poets became Poet Laureate in 1843.
Yates.
Incorrect. Lakeside, would you like to pass or play?
Pass.
All right. The answer for our friends at home, Wordsworth. Wordsworth. Back to our open questions for 10 points. When Henry Clay was nominated for president in 1844, the newswires carried this story. What wires had just been, Mr. McDonald?
Telegraph.
Good job. Your extra credit questions. Yellowstone National Park is large enough to be located in 3 states. For 5 points, name any one of those 3 states.
Wyoming.
Correct. For 10 points, name another.
Colorado.
Incorrect. Lakeside, would you like to pass or play?
Play.
Great.
Idaho.
That's correct. And for 15 points, name the 3rd state in which you can visit Yellowstone Park.
Montana.
Nice job. For 10 points, he was 23 years old when he died in 1881. Mr. McDonald? And is said to have killed 23 men. The first when he was just 14. Who is this legendary bad boy? Miss Nyack.
Billy the Kid.
Correct. Good job. Here we go, extra credit. Here's a quick chemistry test. For 5 points, what is the more familiar name of sodium bicarbonate? Is it baking soda or baking powder?
Baking soda.
Correct. For 10 points, what gas is produced when zinc reacts with sulfuric acid?
Hydrogen.
Correct. And for 15 points, what 2 elements are combined in NiCad batteries?
Nickel and cadmium.
Designate.
Nickel and cadmium.
Well done. Well done. Open question, 10 points. Desdemona, there we go, is the faithful wife of this Shakespearean Miss Along.
Othello.
Well done. The Elizabethan age in England produced some great plays. For 5 points, what Elizabethan dramatist wrote a play subtitled The Moor of Venice?
This is Shakespeare.
Shakespeare.
Correct. For 10 points, what Elizabethan playwright wrote The Jew of Malta?
Marlowe. Christopher Marlowe.
Designate.
Marlowe.
Very good. And for 15 points, what Elizabethan dramatist wrote The Spanish Tragedy?
Chaucer.
Sir?
Chaucer.
Incorrect. Lakeside, would you like to pass or play?
Pass.
All right, the answer, Thomas Kidd. Open question, 10 points. Oh, and that sound means it is the end of round 2. Wow. Walton at 215, Lakeside at 215. Quite the ball game. And we're just halfway through. Coming up next, we have our quick quiz. Stay with us.
Fruits. 6-1 break.
And 13, a potpourri. Welcome back to Haiku. We have a tie game. Walton and Lakeside both at 215 points, and now it is time for our quick quiz. But because the two teams are tied, we had to do a coin toss in the break, and Lakeside actually won. So Lakeside, please choose from the following 4 categories: a pack of dogs, 2 C's, a little lit, 2013, a potpourri.
What is it? Potpourri. Potpourri. What is 2013 potpourri? I know. Okay, go for it.
2013 potpourri.
All right.
Please.
And remember, we'll try to answer as many questions, up to 20 in the course of 1 minute. Each question is worth 10 points, and then any questions that are missed then are passed on to Walton and vice versa. All right, here we go. 2013 a potpourri. Here's a mix of people, places, and things that made the headlines in 2013. For 10 points each, identify this potpourri. The Curiosity rover found water in the soil. This pope was Time Magazine's Person of the Year. Dennis Rodman went to this country to visit Kim Jong-un's, his friend for life.
North Korea.
In February, this North American country withdrew the 1-cent coin from circulation.
Canada.
The death of this prime minister in April led to the burning of effigies in Britain.
Thatcher.
The Oxford English Dictionary's word of the year was this kind of photograph.
Stuffy.
The new word was a combination of a croissant and a donut.
Cronut.
After NSA leaks were revealed, the book by George Orwell surged 58%. What new animal at the National Zoo was named Bobo? Or Bow Bow?
Panda.
The discovery of a 2,600-year-old shrine in Nepal revised dates for what religious figure?
Buddha.
In June, the world's largest building, 3 times the Pentagon, opened in this country.
Pass.
According to the opening line of the Elvis's video, The Fox, how does the dog go?
Oh.
She said it.
I'm going to give it to her.
All right, nice. The dog goes woof. All right, Walton, the only question that Lakeside missed. In June, the world's largest building, 3 times the Pentagon, opened in this country.
UAE.
Correct, but a great guess. The answer is China. The answer is China. Okay, Walton, pretty please choose from the following 3 subjects: a pack of dogs, 2 C's, or a little lit.
2 C's.
Okay, fantastic. Here's a quiz in which all of the answers are 2 words, and both words begin with the letter C. For 10 completely crazy points, identify these people, places, and things. This board game is not a variation of checkers and didn't originate in China.
Checkers.
Plastic payment option offered by Visa discovered in American Express. Credit card. The governing body of the United States during the American Revolution.
Continental Congress.
Running or skiing competition.
West country.
Chemical compound with the formula CaCO3.
Calcium carbonate.
The space shuttles were launched from this Florida Air Force Base.
Cape Canaveral.
This cable network is home to The Daily Show and South Park.
Comedy Central.
Sweet morsels used in cookies, ice cream, and pancakes. This baseball team hasn't won the World Series since 1908.
Cubs.
What's the CC stand for when sending an
Closed
email?
captioning.
Kurt Vonnegut's novel in which Ice Nine raises the display of a TV show's text for hearing impaired.
Closed captioning.
The French Open is the only tennis Grand Slam event played on this. Best friend of Homer and Lenny on The Simpsons.
Pass.
Chinese detective created by Earl Dare Biggers.
Pass.
In the children's nursery rhyme. Ooh, great job, great job. Got all the way down to 17. Okay, Lakeside. Email.
Carbon copy.
Best friend of Homer and Lenny on The Simpsons.
Carl.
More.
Carl Carlson.
There you go. Chinese detective created by
chain.
There you go. Well done. And that's it. 345 points for Walton, 355 Lakeside. Quite a game. It's all going to come down to the final exam, which comes up in just moments. Stick around.
For 21st.
Each question is now worth 20 points. That higher Q question worth up to 100 points. So, let's get going. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was only 15 years old when he enrolled in this historically black college in Atlanta. Mr. Eckel.
Morehouse.
Correct. For 20 points, she was the Roman goddess of flowers. Today she's remembered. Miss Nyack.
Flora.
Very good. 20 points, he will host the 87th Academy Awards ceremony in 2015. Mr. Eckel.
Neil Patrick Harris.
Good. The Greek mathematician Aristophanes had a simple way to find them.
Five numbers.
Thank you. 20 points. Ron Klain, the former chief of staff for Vice President Joe Biden, has a new position. On October 17th, President Obama appointed him the czar to handle Mr. Wiley.
Ebola czar.
There you go. Organized by John Muir in 1892, it sponsors Mr. McDonald. Sorry?
Nevada Club.
Incorrect. It sponsors wilderness activities while protecting endangered areas. Ms.
The
Nyack.
Sierra Club.
There you go. On October 15th, it announced that in 2015, it will offer its programming online, which means that you won't need cable to watch it anymore. Who produces? Mr. Alam.
HBO.
For 20 points, the Komodo dragon, the largest lizard in the world, can be 10 feet long and 300 pounds. If you'd rather not meet one, what Asian country should you avoid? Mrs. Nyack.
Indonesia.
There you go. Thank you, Ms. Nyack. All right, higher Q. All right. Now it's time for the higher Q question worth up to 100 points. Please make your wages 0 to 100 in increments of 20 based upon the following subject, U.S. cities. Walton, you have 385 points. Lakeside, you now have 365 points.
400.
Excuse me, 465 points. All right, here we go. Ready?
Are you ready?
Mr. Wiley,
800.
hurry.
You heard what Mr. Slivers said.
Flip it. Okay, here we go. The one in New York is the home of Kodak. The one in Minnesota is the home of the Mayo Clinic. What name do these two small cities share? The one in New York is the home of Kodak. The one in Minnesota is the home of the Mayo Clinic. What name do these two small cities share? Is correct. How many points?
100.
Up to 485. Well done. And Lakeside, Mr. Wiley.
Rochester.
That's correct. How many points? $40 billion or more due to this crisis in the Middle East. What is the militant Islamic group? Mr. McDonald?
ISIS.
Correct. 20 points. In April 1942, 16 U.S. Army Air Force bases, Air Force's B-25B Mitchell medium bombers. There we go, Mr. McDonald.
The Doolittle raid.
Incorrect. Medium bombers took off from the aircraft carrier USS Hornet on the first air raid to strike the Japanese home islands. What city was the target of the Doolittle raid? Ms. Nyack.
Okinawa.
Incorrect. Tokyo, which I know you would have known. On October 16th, NASA announced that it had discovered one of the faintest ones ever seen, about 13 billion light years away and 500 times smaller than the Milky Way. What early collection, Mr. Alam?
Galaxy.
Well done. 20 points. From the Himalayas, it flows southeast across India into Bangladesh, joins the Brahmaputra, and enters Ms. Nyack.
The Ganges.
Good job. 20 points. Marty McFly hopped aboard a pink one. Mr. Alam?
Back to the Future.
Incorrect. Hopped aboard a pink one and Back to the Future 2, Mr. Eckel.
Hoverboard.
There you go, just created a real one. This English woodwind instrument with a whistle mouthpiece was the ancestor of the modern flute. What is it, Ms. Nyack?
Penny whistle.
Correct. What is it? Great guess, though. Mr. McDonald?
Bigelow.
Incorrect. Recorder. 20 points. They were a favorite subject for the Hudson River School of Artists. What are these scenic mountains in southeastern, Mr. Wiley?
Cascades.
Scenic mountains in southeastern, Mr. Who?
Catskill.
There you go. 20 points. It looks like a parabola, but it's not. It's the shape taken by the hanging cables. Wow.
Not in touch.
Okay. Well, that whistle means that it is the end of this game of High Q. Lakeside, 585 points. Walton, Beautifully done. 545 points. Unfortunately, just wasn't enough. So Lakeside will be seeing you again in the spring. As for you at home, thank you so much for joining us for another round of High Q, and we hope to see you back here again next week.